As someone who loves video games and movies, I find it incredibly entertaining when famous actors show up in video games. It's just fun to learn about some of your favorite actors that you had no idea were also in some of your favorite games. I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and make a bold claim to say that I guarantee there is at least one actor or celebrity in this video that you had no idea voiced a character in a video game. There's just no way that you're gonna know all these, but let's find out. Nowadays, it's pretty common for big name actors to have prominent roles in video games, and of course, you already know about a lot of them. Keanu Reeves is Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077, Norman Reedus is Sam Porter Bridges in Death Stranding, Liam Neeson as your dad in Fallout 3, Gus Fring in Far Cry 6, Samuel L. Jackson as Officer Tenpenny in GTA San Andreas. Heck, you probably even knew that Michael Ironside plays Sam Fisher in the Splinter Cell series.
Fisher. I used to work here.
Now, if any one of those was news to you, your mind is really going to be blown the rest of this video. Big name actors haven't always been common in video games. Some of the earliest examples where actors actually had prominent acting roles in games are Mark Hamill and Christopher Walken. Before Mark Hamill was the Joker in the Batman Arkham series, he played Christopher Blair, a space pilot in 1994's Wing Commander 3. And in 1996, Christopher Walken played the corrupt detective Vincent Magnota in the interactive movie The Ripper.
Look, just cause you two played tiddlywinks in your birthday suits doesn't mean I'm gonna open police files for you.
The very first prominent Hollywood actor performance in a video game was actually one of the most notoriously terrible games ever made, called Night Trap, and it featured Different Strokes actress Dana Plato. In 1998, video games managed to nab one of the biggest action heroes in Hollywood at the time, Bruce Willis. Famous for the Die Hard films, Willis has exactly one and only one video game voice acting role to his name, and you might assume that it was for the PS1 Die Hard trilogy, because, you know, that would make sense. But no, Eric Allen Baker voiced John McClane in the PS1 Die Hard trilogy, not Bruce Willis. However, Willis did voice and offer his likeness for a character named Trey Kincaid in a game called Apocalypse for the PS1. Apocalypse was developed by Neversoft prior to their Tony Hawk video game fame, and Apocalypse was the only video game Bruce Willis was ever professionally involved in. Speaking of the Tony Hawk games, my favorite in the series was easily Tony Hawk's Underground 1 and 2, and of course the professional skaters like Tony Hawk, Bob Burnquist, Chad Muska, and Ryan Sheckler had voice lines in the games as themselves, as Underground 1 and 2 were more story-heavy than the Pro Skater iterations. But one of the Pro Skaters had a small voice role in another video game that had nothing to do with skating. The professional skater and reality TV star Bam Margera voiced liquor store owner named Jay in Scarface: The World Is Yours. Why? I have absolutely no idea.
I got the cash right here. Just show me where to sign my name.
I'd love to, man, but I'm between a rock and a hard place full of assholes who want to destroy the business.
There are actually a ton of kind of random celebrities and major actors that voiced characters in Scarface: The World Is Yours. Robert Loggia, James Woods, Cheech and Chong, Anthony Anderson, Ice-T, Ricky Gervais, Jason Mewes from Jay and Silent Bob, Michael Rooker, who plays Merle in The Walking Dead, and Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, voices Tony Montana's enforcer in Scarface: The World Is Yours.
You, get out of my face.
Michael Rooker has a few other video game voice acting roles to his name, one of them being one of the main bosses in the Suda51 trip Lollipop Chainsaw. Rooker voices the Viking metal zombie named Vike.
I'm gonna use her stairs to make a hat and use her spine as a back scratcher.
The interesting connection here is that film director James Gunn, who directed all three Guardians of the Galaxy movies where Rooker has a prominent role as Yondu, James Gunn also wrote the script for Lollipop Chainsaw alongside quirky game developer Suda51. So next time you're playing some movie trivia and the question is, what project did director James Gunn and actor Michael Rooker work together? Don't say Guardians of the Galaxy, say Lollipop Chainsaw and wait to be told that you're incorrect, only to valiantly prove that you're right and know much more useless knowledge than they do. Rooker also voices Mike Harper in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. He reprised his role as Merle Dixon in the horrendous Walking Dead Survival Instincts, and he offered his likeness and voice acting talents to the equally horrendous 2023 Payday ripoff Crime Boss Rocket City, where he voiced one of the playable criminals simply named Touchdown.
Don't steal my tail, Hanson.
Crime Boss Rocket City, despite being developed by a smaller, more unknown studio, somehow managed to secure a whole host of acting talent within their game. Kim Basinger, Michael Madsen, Danny Glover, Danny Trejo, Vanilla Ice, and freaking Chuck Norris are all in this duty game. It's one of those so bad it's good kind of games that is also kind of hilarious simply just thinking about the fact that all of these acting legends are somehow in this game. I mentioned the Machete and Tortuga Breaking Bad actor Danny Trejo, who played the dragon in Crime Boss Rocket City. Trejo also voiced himself in Far Cry 6, Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, and Def Jam Fight for New York. Trejo also voiced Dwight Mendez in this year's fantastic Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. He voiced Neutralizer in TMNT Danger of the Ooze, Umberto Robina in GTA Vice City, and my personal favorite, Raul the Ghoul in Fallout New Vegas.
Sorry, boss.
According to fans that approached Trejo at Comic-Con and asked him about what it was like to work with Obsidian for Fallout New Vegas, reportedly Trejo had no memory of even working on the game, so it was clearly a meaningful project for him. The Fallout games have actually featured a ton of Hollywood acting talent over the years, all the way back to the very first Fallout in 1997. Monk actor Tony Shalhoub voiced Aradesh in Fallout 1. Sons of Anarchy and Hellboy actor Ron Perlman has been the narrator or various different characters in every Fallout since the beginning. As I mentioned earlier, the most intimidating man alive, Liam Neeson, played your dad in Fallout 3. The late great Friends star Matthew Perry voiced the smooth-talking Benny in Fallout New Vegas. Also in New Vegas, Zachary Levi, the actor who plays Shazam in the DC Universe, voices Arcade Gannon. The comedian and comedy actor Rob Corddry, who's been in films like Hot Tub Time Machine and Warm Bodies, plays the quest-giving comedian in New Vegas named Billy Knight. Zoe Bell, who's been in movies like The Hateful Eight and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, voices various different quest givers and NPCs like Melissa Lewis and Linda Schuler, and Mr. Las Vegas himself, Wayne Newton, plays the radio show host and performer Mr. New Vegas. The greatest video game Spider-Man of all time, Yuri Lowenthal, voiced Danny Sullivan in Fallout 4. The original Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, voices and sings as Magnolia also in Fallout 4. Fallout 4 also somehow managed to get Jesus Christ to voice Jack Cabot and Doc Weathers. Wait a minute. Oh, shoot, sorry. The actor who plays Jesus Christ in the TV show The Chosen, Jonathan Rumi, voices Jack Cabot and Doc Weathers in Fallout 4. I could honestly go on for much longer talking about various different actors and celebrities that show up in the Fallout series, so let me know in these comments which ones I didn't mention. Another popular video game series that has almost always featured Hollywood talent and overall celebrity talent. Pretty much every Call of Duty has featured at least one top-billed Hollywood actor. One of my favorites that I never knew of until recently is the action star Jason Statham, who's famous from action flicks like The Expendables, The Transporter, and the Fast and Furious movies. Statham voiced Sergeant Waters in the very first Call of Duty in 2003.
You take point, I'll provide support with the brain gun.
Which was just a year after his first Transporter movie, so this was still pretty early in his career before he really blew up. In 2002, Statham voiced Shrike in Red Faction 2.
I think Sobot's inside that building.
A voice acting role that isn't even credited to him on his IMDb page or the video game page on the Behind the Voice Actors website. I can make an entire separate video just focusing on actors and celebrities that have showed up in Call of Duty. Disgraced actor Kevin Spacey was the main villain in Advanced Warfare. Fun fact, Spacey also played Frank Underwood in House of Cards before his removal from Hollywood, and while Underwood was a seedy politician by day, he was an avid gamer by night. Throughout the show, Frank is seen playing different various video games like Killzone 3, God of War Ascension, Monument Valley, and the Stanley Parable. Academy Award and Golden Globe winner Gary Oldman, who starred in films like The Dark Knight and The Darkest Hour, voiced Victor Reznov in Call of Duty World at War and Black Ops.
Sniping your enemy is like hunting any other animal.
You probably knew that one, but what you probably didn't know is that Oldman also voiced Ignitus, the dragon in Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning. Actually, this scene from the game features 3 major Hollywood actors.
But it's too late. Too late.
Too late for what? What are you? What are we? What am I?
You mean you don't know?
Does it sound like he knows?
Of course, Ignitus, like I said, is voiced by Gary Oldman. Spyro is voiced by Frodo Baggins himself, Elijah Wood, and Sparks the Dragonfly is voiced by funny man David Spade, who's been in comedies like Tommy Boy and Grown Ups. I could go on for like an hour highlighting all of the actors and celebrities that have shown up just in Call of Duty. Between the main campaigns with more actors like Batman, aka Michael Keaton, tons of COD zombie cameos like The Punisher, aka John Bernthal, and Warzone operator skins like Snoop Dogg and 21 Savage. Call of Duty has even nabbed famous athletes like legendary F1 driver Lewis Hamilton and UFC champion Conor McGregor. It's just absolutely nuts.
Until we meet again, Semper Fi Marine.
Speaking of seemingly random celebrities that just kind of show up in video games, one of my absolute favorites is British rock star Billy Idol doing a full-blown concert in the niche AA RPG Elix 2. It makes absolutely no sense and is completely out of place with no context whatsoever. Elix 2 is a science fiction mixed with fantasy open-world RPG that's already weird enough, and you can simply stumble upon this Billy Idol concert as you are exploring the open world. There's really no lead up to it, no quest for it, no reason for it. you just find this amphitheater and you stroll in there and a cutscene triggers and bam, you're watching a Billy Idol concert. It makes no sense and it's amazing. In Postal 2, there's a mission that begins with you attending a book signing with Different Strokes actor Gary Coleman. The police then show up saying there's a warrant out for Gary's arrest, and he says he ain't going back to jail. So you and Gary unload on all the cops, and the mission ends with you getting Gary Coleman to sign a petition to make whiny congressmen play violent video games. You know, just normal Postal 2 shenanigans. One of my absolute favorite random celebrity inclusions in a video game is Princess Leia herself, Carrie Fisher. And no, it's not for a Star Wars game. In the stealth action title Dishonored, during the mission where you return to Dunwall Tower, you can confront the NPC who makes all the announcements over the loudspeakers throughout the city, and you can use him for a non-lethal mission outcome, but if you kill him, in the following missions, Carrie Fisher replaces him and does the voice work for the announcements over the citywide PA system.
Please prepare for a temporary disruption in city government services. Remain alert for further details.
It's just so incredibly random, and I want to know how Arcane Studios got Fisher to voice such a small role that most gamers that played Dishonored, even multiple times through, may never encounter. Dishonored 1 and 2 actually feature a handful of prominent actors in voice roles. Not only does Pedro Pascal play Joel Miller from The Last of Us in the Last of Us HBO series, he also voiced the leader of the Howlers gang in Dishonored 2 named Paolo.
We've been at war with the Abbey, not just over territory.
Chloe Grace Moretz, who plays Hit Girl and Kick-Ass, voiced young Emily Caldwin in the first game. Susan Sarandon, best known for her roles in Thelma and Louise and Dead Man Walking, voices Granny Rags in Dishonored 1. The Kingpin Vincent D'Onofrio voiced Duke Luca Abel in Dishonored 2, and Sam Rockwell, the actor who plays Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2, voiced Mortimer Ramsey, also in Dishonored 2. Billy Bob Thornton from Sling Blade, Bad News Bears, and Bad Santa, and then Dennis Hopper from Speed and Apocalypse Now voiced Wade and Struggs from a random Nintendo Wii exclusive called Deadly Creatures. Again, it's like, why? How do random games like this get such major Hollywood talent? I have no clue why or how, but I mean, I'm not mad about it. Logic, the rapper Logic, yeah, he voiced this random character at the tail end of The Last of Us Part 2. He's in the game for like 2 minutes, has a few lines, and then gets bitten and dies, so there's that.
Yeah, it's funny, right? It's funny. Serious? Come on.
Kristen Bell from movies like Couples Retreat and Bad Moms, and voice actor for Anna from Frozen, also voiced Lucy Stillman in Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and Brotherhood. Jean Reno from Leon the Professional and one of my childhood movies, the 1998 Godzilla, voices French police officer Jacques in Onimusha 3. This one's cool because Jacques is a playable character through most of the game, and he wields this awesome demon whip. A lot of the actors mentioned in this video have side roles as opposed to playable main characters. Another seemingly random inclusion of a big actor in a game was when J.K. Simmons, aka J. Jonah Jameson from the Spider-Man movies, or Omni-Man himself, whichever you prefer, showed up as Cave Johnson in Portal 2. Despite it being a small role, Simmons absolutely kills it here and is legitimately hilarious.
Don't make lemonade. Make life. Take the lemons back. Get mad. I don't want your damn lemons. What am I supposed to do with these?
There's a handful of actors that show up throughout the Kingdom Hearts series, but my favorite inclusion that I feel like most don't know about is Back to the Future mad scientist actor Christopher Lloyd. When Leonard Nimoy, who voiced Master Xehanort, unfortunately passed away, Christopher Lloyd was brought in to voice the character in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind.
Now we must discuss why we have assembled here today.
The fantastic GTA clone Sleeping Dogs featured Will Yun Lee as Wei Shin. Will Yun Lee is a martial artist and actor who's been in films like The Wolverine and San Andreas. Lee's performance as Wei Shin is easily one of my all-time favorite video game acting performances that would never win any type of awards, but totally deserves one. My favorite random actor appearance in this game is Emma Stone from movies like The Amazing Spider-Man and Superbad. Stone voices one of Wei's girlfriends in the game named Amanda. Before Steve Carell's fame skyrocketed after playing Michael Scott in The Office, he was the comedic play-by-play announcer in the slapstick comedy golf game Outlaw Golf in 2002 and Outlaw Volleyball in 2003.
Oh, that ball just got spelled wrong. El Suave is putting for an attempt at birdie.
I desperately wish that I could meet Steve one day and ask if he remembers doing voice work for this game. There's just no way he remembers this, right?
No!
Late-night talk show host Stephen Colbert also voiced the play-by-play announcer in Outlaw Tennis in 2005. Niche Dreamcast title Omicron: The Nomad Soul from Quantic Dream, the devs behind future titles like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, featured famous musician David Bowie, who played Boz in the game. This one's pretty wild because not only was this Quantic Dream's debut video game title, but they also got Mr. Bowie to write the game's soundtrack as well. When David Cage has a dream, dang it, he makes it reality, even if it's a manic fever dream like the ending of the Indigo Prophecy. Another musician that randomly shows up in a video game, for some reason Marilyn Manson voices an alien named Edgar in the 2005 Area 51 game. It is a potent weapon indeed. Again, why? I have absolutely no idea. It's likely Manson subtly telling us that he's actually an alien. While Eminem recently performed in Fortnite rapping his famous songs Lose Yourself and Godzilla, that wasn't a real video game acting performance, as M literally had to do nothing for that. However, there is one video game Eminem has a true acting performance in, and he did it for the only person in the world that could convince him to voice act in a video game: Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. In the 2005 game 50 Cent Bulletproof, Marshall Mathers voiced corrupt cop Aaron McVicker.
Can you help me?
Yeah, no problem. For the right price.
Is money the only thing that matters to you?
That's pretty funny coming from a guy who calls himself 50 Cent. I'll be in touch if you hear anything. And by the way, you're out of orange juice.
They even gave him the shady blonde hairdo and all. I mean, Eminem can't play a corrupt cop without the shady bleach blonde, of course. Comedians Ricky Gervais and Cat Williams both wrote full-on unique stand-up material for the comedy club that you can visit with Cousin Roman in GTA 4. The GTA series has also featured a pretty hefty amount of celebrity talent over the years, GTA Vice City actually being the game with the most prominent major celebrity appearances. It featured Luis Guzman, Danny Trejo, Dennis Hopper, Phil Collins showed up as himself, Ray Liotta voiced the main character Tommy, and my personal favorite inclusion from this game is crazy Gary Busey, who voiced equally crazy Phil Cassidy in the game.
Hey, Tony! How you doing? It's been too long.
The king of pop, Michael Jackson, made a few video game cameos, but my favorite is his appearance as an unlockable boxer in Ready to Rumble Boxing.
You can't win. The title's mine. Don't you know who you're messing with?
Many have speculated that that wasn't Michael at all, as it doesn't sound like his normal, more high-pitched voice. However, one of the developers confirmed it really was Michael speaking these voice lines, and the voice director simply told Michael to lower his voice for the line deliveries, and that's what he ended up sounding like. Sir Patrick Stewart, best known for Star Trek and Professor X in the X-Men movies, certainly voiced his specific character in a handful of Star Trek and X-Men games, but he also voiced Emperor Uriel Septim in Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
You are the one from my dreams.
And he voiced Zobek in Castlevania Lords of Shadow 1 and 2. Conan O'Brien, the famous late-night talk show host, has been connected to video games for a while now, as his clueless gamer segments were extremely popular for a long time. As a result of these hilarious videos, Hideo Kojima decided to give Conan his own cameo in Death Stranding. Conan also shows up as a random Marine in Halo 4. Two other completely out-of-the-blue inclusions in the Halo games featuring actors voicing insignificant random Marines is Michelle Rodriguez, the actor who plays Letty in the Fast and Furious franchise. She voiced a random Marine in Halo 2, and Laura Prepon, who played Donna in That 70s Show, also voiced a random Marine in Halo 2. Another sci-fi space series, Mass Effect, has some awesome performances and cameos from celebrities and actors. Carrie-Anne Moss, who played Trinity in the Matrix trilogy, voices the Omega baddie queen Arya T'Loak.
I have many friends and enemies I keep at varying distances. I don't count you among either.
Definitely one of my favorite performances in the game. Seth Green, the creator of Adult Swim's Robot Chicken and actor from movies like the Austin Powers movies, voices the best pilot in the galaxy, Joker Jeff Moreau. Keith David, who's been in movies like The Thing and Platoon, has also voiced characters in a bunch of video games like Destiny 2, Saints Row, and Call of Duty. He also voices Captain David Anderson in Mass Effect 1 through 3. Martin Sheen, who played Uncle Ben in The Amazing Spider-Man, voices the incredibly suave and mysterious The Elusive Man. And my absolute favorite unexpectedly random castings in the Mass Effect trilogy are Second Man on the Moon Buzz Aldrin and Billie Eilish's mom, Maggie Baird. That's right, the post-credits scene of Mass Effect 3 pulls a Marvel Cinematic Universe on us and has an older gentleman explaining to what is likely his grandson about the legend of Commander Shepard and how they thwarted the Reaper invasion.
Tell me another story about the Shepard.
It's getting late, but okay.
One more story.
It's an awesome Easter egg that makes sense and pays homage to the legendary pioneer of the stars, Buzz Aldrin. And then one of your pivotal crew members throughout Mass Effect 2 and into Mass Effect 3, the Asari Justicar Samara, is voiced by Billie Eilish's mom, Maggie Baird. She's acted and voice acted in various different shows and movies, but funny enough, her most significant role seems to in fact be the Mass Effect 2 Justicar, and Samara is no doubt one of the many awesome characters from this legendary game, so kudos to her. And finally, in the Mass Effect that we don't talk about, Mass Effect Andromeda, comedian turned actor Kumail Nanjiani also starred in movies like The Big Sick and The Eternals. He voiced the Solarian bureaucrat Jarun Tan, and Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones voiced Asari Dr. Lexi Tepero. Yet another sci-fi space adventure has a decent amount of celebrities and actors. Space clearly loves its famous folk. Destiny 1 and 2 features a handful of actors. Of course, most know of Peter Dinklage as the Dinklebot before he got replaced by the all-knowing, inevitable Nolan North.
Don't do that.
Lauren Cohen, who played Maggie in The Walking Dead, voiced the Exo Stranger, and Lance Reddick, who's been in films like John Wick, voiced Commander Zavala.
We're going all in on this almighty.
Sadly, Reddick passed away in March of 2023, but he was still the leading role in Hellboy Web of Word that came out in October of 2023, where he voiced Hellboy himself. He also voiced Silence in Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. He reprised his role as Sharon in John Wick Hex, and he played Martin Hatch in Remedy's Quantum Break. Speaking of Remedy games, Remedy being one of my all-time favorite video game developers, Quantum Break also featured Iceman from the X-Men movies Shawn Ashmore. Ashmore played Jack Joyce, the main character in Quantum Break, and then played Sheriff Tim Breaker in Alan Wake 2, who is basically another version of Jack Joyce from Quantum Break, but also kind of not at the same time. It gets a little tricky, but listen, it makes sense if you're into the whole Remedy cinematic game multiverse universe. Ashmore also voiced Conrad in the Dark Pictures anthology Man of Medan. Of course, I can't talk about celebrities in video games and not talk about Jack Black. Jack Black has become so synonymous with gaming that he's seemingly the go-to casting choice for movies about video games. He was in Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji The Next Level. He voiced Claptrap in the admittedly terrible Borderlands movie, and of course he's already gone viral for his performance as Steve in the upcoming Minecraft movie. His most notable video game role is Eddie Riggs in Double Fine's Brutal Legend. He also played parts in Double Fine's other games, Broken Age and Psychonauts 2. He voiced Carl Denham in one of the best movie video games ever made, Peter Jackson's King Kong. He played Officer Dick in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, and he showed up as himself alongside Susan Sarandon as a cameo at the end of Justin Roiland's High on Life.
Hey, it's me, Jack Black.
Hi. I'm Susan Sarandon.
Even some smaller indie titles these days have managed to snag major actors for their voice roles. The indie thriller 12 Minutes featured 3 big actors. Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey in Star Wars, voiced the wife. James McAvoy, who starred in films like Split and most recently the thriller horror Speak No Evil, voices the husband. And Willem Dafoe, aka the Green Goblin, voices the detective. Willem Dafoe has voiced in a few other video games. He played Nathan Dawkins in Beyond Two Souls alongside Elliot Page, and the lesser-known role in my personal favorite of his video game roles, he played Nikolai Diavolo in James Bond 007 Everything or Nothing.
Pity you're not as quick with your gun as you are with the car.
Another smaller indie title that featured major Hollywood actors was the fantastic The Artful Escape. Lena Headey from 300 and Game of Thrones voices Tastemaker, Mark Strong from the Kingsman movies voices Star Gordon, and Carl Weathers voiced the legendary Lightman. If you haven't played The Artful Escape, this is a video game experience, and you gotta give it a shot. Another fun fact here, Mark Strong also voiced Captain Titus in Warhammer 40k Space Marine 1, but did not reprise his role as Titus for Space Marine 2. Titus was voiced by Clive Standen in the sequel. Speaking of recent video games like Space Marine 2, the surprisingly good Alone in the Dark remake/reboot that nobody played that came out earlier this year featured Detective Hopper from Stranger Things actor David Harbour and Jodie Comer from Killing Eve and Free Guy. Both were the 2 playable character options. Edward Carnby and Emily Hartwood. Sadly, maybe this game should have focused on other things apart from securing major actors, as the Alone in the Dark developers Pieces Interactive have now been permanently shut down after the game's financial flop. Speaking of shutting down, I could probably continue this for like 2 hours, so I think I'm going to call it quits. If you've stayed through this whole thing and there was at least one actor, celebrity, or random cameo in a video game that I mentioned in this video that you didn't know about, you have to like and subscribe and share this video with someone else that might enjoy it. And if you don't, dishonor on your whole family, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. Let me know in the comments of some other actors and celebrities that show up in video games that I might not have mentioned, and subscribe for more video game content that's better than your mama's packed lunch.